I think the first time I remember Maundy, Thursday, I was a little girl, maybe 8 or 10 years old, and my dad was having a Maundy, Thursday service at our church. He's pastor of a little Baptist church in Eastern North Carolina, in Wilson, North Carolina, called Five Points Missionary Baptist Church. And he scheduled this really like foreign service to the church. And I remember even then there was some controversy that my dad was trying to make the Baptists too Catholic with this Maundy, Thursday service. But today I was talking with Daddy about Maundy, Thursday and recalling those early years when no one else had really was really doing Maundy, Thursday services in the Baptist church. And um, he was sharing with me about this devotion that he and Mother read this morning from a book by a Catholic priest that's called Hobo Lenten Honeymoon. I think something like that. I'll put the link to the book in the comments in the description of the video. But this book is written by a guy who knows about the tradition of the hobos who rode on the trains. And I don't know if that is like the politically correct term to use, but that is the term that I've always heard of people who jumped the trains and rode from one town to the next. Well, my dad got this book because he comes from railroad culture. He grew up in a house that was just right off the railroad tracks. And his dad worked on the railroad. He was a signal man, a light person. And so Daddy loves to read things about the railroad. Anyway, so he was telling me about this devotion, which I will read to our church, our congregation sometime when we can have communion together, because it felt like it was a little bit more appropriate for face-to-face communion. But as we were talking, we remembered that his mother, my grandmother, used to feed the hobos. See, their house was so close to the tracks that it would be maybe the first stop. And I can't even imagine how many people would stop by there. And they would stop by for any number of reasons. It might be that they were hungry, but it also might have been that they needed company or shelter or work or health care. But whatever they stopped by for, my grandmother would always feed them. Now, my dad's family, they weren't wealthy. There wasn't a lot of extra money. You know, they didn't wear shoes in the summertime to preserve their shoes for Sunday. And it was during the Depression. It was in the late 30s, early 40s. But so they would stop by and grandmother would offer them a meal or maybe give them a chore to do, to work for their meal, to help them maintain their dignity in asking. What I didn't know until today is that the travelers, as they would come off the train, they would mark the post of the house in some way that was indiscernible to others, but to someone in that culture, they would know right away what that meant, what that symbol meant. And so my grandmother's post would have been marked welcome in whatever way that marking was done, because she never turned anyone away. Everyone was welcome at her table. There was always food enough. And it didn't matter that her husband worked for the railroad and they jumped the tracks and got a free ride on the railroad because they couldn't afford to pay the fare. None of that mattered. What mattered was that they were hungry. and she fed them. And I think that's what Maundy Thursday is all about. It's a moment to stop and remember that Jesus said, everyone is welcome at the table. It's a moment to stop and remember that Jesus humbled himself as a servant and washed his disciples' feet. And then he turned to us and he said, love each other. Just love each other. Get rid of all the divisions and love each other. And I think that is the message of Maundy Thursday. Let's get rid of the divisions and let's just love each other. That's what Jesus would do. Not just on Maundy Thursday, but every day. You are loved, and there's nothing you can do about it.